What's up, my dudes? Don't worry, boys. I measured the jump. 420 foot exactly, dude. Can you believe it, bro? Oh, man. We got that 2022 RF Atlanta track review. Don't mind me with my infinite wheelie out here. This track is perfect to practice wheelies on, okay? Of all the RF tracks, I mean, this is one of the best ones. Just sit here and go back and forth on the start straight, riding wheelies all the way down, you know what I'm saying? But, dude, I just had to hit this jump. This right here this is next level, dude. This is like pushing the limits of the physics of the bike. Hitting a jump that's this big. In third person, it don't really look like it, but like if you back it up here like this, watch this. This shit's massive, bro. This shit's jumping over the moon and back, bro. Oh, man. All right, check this out. I mean, Spency boy, you can't even see me up there. Oh, man. We straight opened up the T-valve, dude. This is like damn near jumping a football field. This is like some, football field level jump right here. Oh, dude. There's a quad daddy if I've ever seen one in my life. And then, of course, Spency boy. Spency boy. Oh, man. This is one of the longest start straights I think I've ever seen on any of these tracks. So, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll get to the track review here in a second. Boy, I tell you what, it seems like something has struck RF ever since Daytona. I don't know what has happened to RF, but they're fucking on one now, dude. And I'm talking like in a good way. Like these tracks have been so much better since Daytona. And even Daytona was pretty good. I'm like all the tracks since Daytona and including Daytona have all been what I feel like really on another level than what they were doing at the first half of the season. It's like something has totally changed in their mindset with how they're making the traction, how they're making the difficulty of the tracks, the potential quad rhythms. I mean, it's just like, it's like they're looking at it totally differently than they were pre-Daytona this year. And a lot of you guys that have rode on all these tracks this year will know exactly what I'm talking about. But to be honest with you, man, like, as long as these pro tracks have pro-level skill gap and pro-level difficulty, and I feel like you can actually separate yourself enough from, a slower rider in the game, that's all I really care about. I mean, I don't care as much about how they are actually making, what kind of style they're putting on the jumps and shit like that. I mean, believe it or not, I don't care as much about all that as I do just simply making it difficult enough. That's been my biggest thing with these RF tracks these past few years. And now they're finally starting to get it back. That's the one thing I feel like these past 3 or 4 tracks they've come out with have just been on another level of skill gap than I feel like we've had since 2017 in this game. So you could see the quad rhythm. There's one right here. There's actually 2 different quad ways that you can hit that rhythm right there. This is a very high-speed track, you got to be able to judge the distance of these jumps on this track. This is a fucking 5th gear wide open on a 450, all the way down the straightaways. I mean, it's a next-level kind of speed track right here for sure. I don't know how in the hell I popped off right here, but here's a good example of, you can pop off. Look at that. I was clear over the jump. I just Spency boy Superman, and I just barely clipped the back end of the bike right there and did toss me, bro. But I like that, I'm not complaining. I would rather a quad do that to you than being able to come up totally short and just bounce off of it like it's a cloud. I would rather it pop you off more than less. because that's what creates skill gap. You know what I'm saying? And look at these whoops, dude. I'm like laying down, taking a nap in between them. You could probably skim over me when I'm laying down in between these whoops. These aren't playing around, dude. These are big daddy. And the fact that you can get going pretty much unlimited amount of speed into them if you hit that quad before, it really expands that potential separator skill gap. You know, this right here, I mean, you're going to be able to totally separate yourself from a amateur, or if you're an amateur, you can totally separate yourself from a beginner. You know, this is not even in the same stratosphere of skill gap as what they, like those first couple rounds they made this year, those weren't even close to this right here. This is a whole nother level of skill gap than what that was. And like I say, I don't know where this has come from. You know, I've been telling RF to do all of this for like the past 3 years, and then really digging in on them this year to do it. And then they finally started doing it right about Daytona, right? Look at all these inside ruts. I mean, let me just back this up for you. You got an inside pre-made rut right here, a little bit of choppy rough pre-made roughness through it. You know, it's not just a perfectly smooth pre-made rut. There's a little bit of character. There's a little bit of roughness on it. It feels like you're actually, you know, on a dirt bike track with ruts and roughness. You know, I know, it's crazy. Something we've not really had much of when it comes to pre-made over the past 3 or 4 years, but finally RF, I mean, it's like RF got struck by lightning or something, and it's just like flipped some crazy switch in their head to where now they're all of a sudden doing this shit right. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know what caused that, but I'm just thankful that it happened, you know? I'm thankful that they're building this shit right now properly. Bro, I was going as fast as I could through these whoops. That bike will get crazy on you, dude. She'll get to bouncing on you, dude. But yeah, you really got to know the speed of the bike because there's so much potential for over jumping and under jumping because the traction is not like super high friction sand. So you really got to have that throttle control. You got to know exactly how fast you're going to not over jump some of these jumps. Takes a lot of that like long distance throttle control timing skill gap on these jumps, especially like the finish line and the main Supercross triples and shit like that. Those are very critical with knowing exactly how fast you're going on the bike. And I think that adds a lot of skill gap to this track. And this rhythm right here, being able to do triple right here and then quad right here. Oh, wow. Looky there, RF. You let us hit quads again. It's amazing. I don't know why you went like 2 or 3 years totally restricting us from really doing that on any of your tracks. But again, I digress. Now they're doing it again. Just imagine this track right here. If they would have just restricted you from hitting a quad anywhere on the track like they did for the past 2 or 3 years in RF Supercross. Imagine how much more boring this track would have been if they would have just purposely restricted you from hitting a quad. You know, and you can also hit a quad in the middle here. I did it a couple times. If you're coming from like what would be the second lap, right? You can actually bounce over. I'll show it to you guys here on the next lap. But yeah, there's a lot of speed can be carried through here to hit this triple. Then you can whipper, snapper over right there. It's fifth gear wide open through these sand rollers. A lot of speed can be carried right here through this corner. You just don't want to over jump this triple because it's really hard to hit this quad right here. If you don't hit that quad right there, you're going to lose all kinds of time going into that whoop section. So see how these quads, not only are they hittable quads, but they're also massive time savers. You know, the rare occasion that you would have a quad that you could hit the past few years on these RF Supercross tracks, it's as if it wasn't even really worth it. And if it was worth it, it was like, it would have been way too hard to try to hit, you know, 2 laps into a main event when you have a road turned on. Whereas I feel like these quads would still be hittable, you know, at least the first half of the main event, even with the road turned on, you know, in the pro race. The only thing I personally would have changed on this track, I would have put a pre-made inside rut in this corner for sure. And I also would have made this triple right here. I would have elongated the landing just a little bit. It's like it's almost hard to judge it by how short it really is, which is cool. I get, that adds a certain level of skill gap, but I'm just saying, I think the overall track would have flowed a little bit better had the two Supercross triples been the landings of them been extended like another 10 foot. I'm not talking a lot, just another 10 foot, and I think it would have really helped out that where it's like very, very tough to judge to not overjump the triples. You know what I'm saying? But this section right here is fucking awesome. These two inside ruts and then trying to jump up over this. But yeah, this right here, if you hit this hard enough, you can jump onto this table and actually bounce off of this and quad over right here and then like quad triple instead of triple quad. You see what I'm saying? But even this triple right here, I feel like it could have been extended another, like I say, like another 10 foot right here. The landing could have, and it just would have made the overall track flow better and not feel like you had to slow down so much before you got to the jump face. I mean, I get that's kind of what the Atlanta Supercross tracks have kind of been, built into, but still, yeah, I mean, I just think it would have made the track flow a little better. But other than that, they're finally getting the whoop skill gap. They're getting the jump skill gap. They're getting the quads back. They're getting the ruts back. They're getting the berms back. They're getting the feeling of the dirt back, the look of the dirt back, all that other important shit. They're finally getting it back. It's unbelievable. I just can't believe it when I think about what RF was doing at the start of this season compared to what they're doing after Daytona. It's like somebody woke the fuck up over there at RF is all I got to say. You know what I mean? Somebody like got slapped in the face or something and they're all of a sudden like totally going from acting like they have no idea what the hell they're doing with the track designs to all of a sudden like, oh yeah, this is RF. Oh yeah, I remember these days. I remember this kind of RF that could make tracks like this. This is what I remember. Oh yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know how they've done that here, but nonetheless, happy to see it. Even all the bullshit that RF has done to me over the years, banning me just for speaking about how unprofessional they were, those things, and they have trouble even banning the cheater, hacker, scammers out of their fucking pro racing. But nonetheless, even with all of that, I still keep it fair with RF. I mean, if they'll come in here and do this shit right, I'll come in here and tell you. You know what I'm saying? If they'll come in here and make this shit skill gapped enough to be a pro level Supercross track, I'll come in here and tell you that. I choose truth over everything. Regardless of my past shit that I've went through with RF or whatever, I throw all that out the window when it comes to reviewing a track and trying to tell you, and the reason why it seems like I've been so negative towards these RF tracks for the past few years is because they've not really been to the level that they were pre-2018. And that's just the truth of it. That's why it seems like I've been so negative, because I've wanted them to get back to this shit. I've wanted them to get back to doing what I know they're capable of. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, that's why I fight so hard. That's why I shit on RF so much, because I know what they're capable of. I know what you can get out of this experience, because I've already experienced that before. So, but nonetheless, I just want to point that out. I know a lot of you guys think I could never speak positively about an RF track, but the real truth of that is, if they come in here and actually make the shit properly, I'll come in here and tell you that. And that's what they've done ever since the Daytona track this year. Like I said, it's like they've gotten a totally different mindset on the track creation. I don't know if it's somebody really complained about it, or a bunch of people complained about the tracks, or a bunch of the really top pros were complaining about the tracks. I don't know what caused them to do it, but nonetheless, it's done. You know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, it seems like they are back on the right track finally with all this shit, track design wise. Berm size, jump size, skill gap, quad lines, dirt filling, triple lines, ruts, pre-made, roughness, overall scaling. I mean, dirt color, it's everything. It's everything. So, either way, congratulations, RF. You're now finally back to what I would call somewhat like a 2017 era style of track. That this really reminds me of that. This feels almost like a 2017 Daytona or something with a little bit less roughness. That's about what this feels like right here, through and through. The jump size, rhythm, scaling, all of that kind of stuff. The width of the track, the feeling of the dirt. It feels almost identical to a 2017, like I've been telling you boys they needed to get back to, but it's just a little bit less like roughness and pre-made, you know? But like this corner right here, I mean, they definitely could have done something a little more than like this big old Talladega sweeper, you know? But other than that, I mean, I love how this section right here specifically, that one little single roller and then the inside rut that it kind of like switches back double, and then the two inside ruts right here with the roughness and all these jumps. If you come up short on them, you're going to lose a lot of time or you're going to pop off. So you constantly have that like speed, feeling, jump, scare, skill gap going on the whole time you're on this track. So it keeps you engaged. It keeps it fun. It keeps it replayable. You know what I'm saying? So all this stuff was all the stuff I was trying to say through the past 2 or 3 years of ranting on these RF Supercross tracks. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was trying to do, man. All I'm trying to do is get RF to do the shit better. That's it. That's the whole reason why I complain. That's the whole reason why I review these tracks like I do and shit on RF. That's the whole fucking reason. Because I'm trying to get them back to their golden era. Back to their heyday of when they were really doing this right, you know? So, either way, man. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. This is another good RF track right here. Hope they continue this momentum. But we'll just have to wait and see, bro.